Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today. I'm doing a video today on how to do wood earrings. Now, I decided to do this video because I don't feel like there's a lot of content out there on YouTube right now for how to do wood earrings on. And this is something I really feel like is a need, is more videos on how to do this technique for making wood earrings. I have just learned by trial and error. I've been a part of a couple Facebook groups. Everybody talks back and forth. How do you do this? What do you use for this? What products do you use? What do you do when this happens? And so I just thought it would be great if somebody could just take a bunch of that information and compile it into one video. So I really hope that you learned some things today. I'm gonna just try to go really step by step through this. So if you want to, you can make earrings along the way with me. I really hope that this, there's some great content here for you guys. I hope that you find something in this video that maybe, you're learning something new. I'm always learning and always trying to figure out how to do this. I'll think I have figured out, like, I really like using this product for this step, but then I'll, find out from somebody else, well, you can also try this product, and I'll do that and it works better for me. So, again, this is how I do it, and I'm gonna try to give you different options for how you can do things, and, let's make some cute wood earrings together. I'm really excited to do this video today. So as you can see here, these are some different wood earrings that I have made. All of these are done with, basically wood pieces, which I'll show you, different types of paper, Mod Podge, and different earring jewelry accessories. I've got some beads here, just so you guys have kind of an idea of size. So these are 2-inch round circles. These are about, I think about 2.5 inches or 2 inches, 2 to 2.5 inch long teardrops. These are 2-inch teardrops. And so, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be making. Okay, so let's start with some of the basic things that you're going to need. So the first thing you're going to need are your wood pieces. Now, I got all of these off of Amazon. That's where I buy all of my pieces now. You can buy packets of shapes like this at like Hobby Lobby, at Michael's, but I have found that they're not necessarily made for making earrings, and so I don't feel like their edges are as nice. And that might not be a big deal to you, but for me, once I got these after using the ones from Hobby Lobby, I just really like these a lot better. I just like the edges of these. They're just flat, and I feel like they're made more specifically for making earrings. So the first thing you're gonna start out with are your wood pieces. And I'm gonna put all of the supplies in the description below. So the next thing that you need are different papers. So I have been kind of like a mad woman collecting these like small paper packs from different craft stores. So like I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and I always get these when they're on sale. So these are by the Paper Studio from Hobby Lobby. And they're regularly $9. So when I got this 50% off, it was $4.50. I got this one on Amazon. And the thing that I like about these small paper packs compared to, let's say, using an 8.5 and 11 piece of paper or a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper, is that the print on this is going to be smaller and more conducive to a small surface or a small canvas. If you buy a 12 by 12 piece of paper, typically the print on it is going to be bigger, it's going to be farther apart, so you're not necessarily going to get as much print on your wood as you do if you use like these little small paper packs. You can buy them for holidays. This is kind of like a color pattern here that you can buy, and I mean, you can make so many different earrings out of one of these packs of paper. For instance, like these earrings that I showed you earlier, these right here. So I made these earrings out of this paper packet. Let's find that red print. Here it is. So this was that red print that I made. This is what I used to make these earrings. So the next thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need a pair of scissors to cut out your paper. Now, I use these scissors when I'm cutting by hand. The nice thing about doing circles like these is that you can actually use paper punches. So I have a couple punches here. So this is a 2.5 inch punch. This is a 1.5 inch punch. This is a 1.5 inch wood circle, and this is one of my favorite sizes to make. So I really like my 1.5 inch punch. I also have some smaller ones here. This is a I think this is a 1.25 punch, which I don't have that wood circle out, but I use this one a lot as well. So you're gonna need something, and again, you don't have to have punches. You can very easily just use a piece of paper. I'll show you here. And you're just gonna trace this on the back of it and cut it out with a pair of scissors. It's really easy to do that. So you're gonna need a pair of scissors, some punches. The next thing that you're gonna need is some Mod Podge products. So I like to use the satin Mod Podge. I know some people use the matte Mod Podge, but I really like the satin one, so I use this. And then for the coating over the top of my earrings, I use a couple different products, and it depends on the style of the earring and the paper that I'm using. This is just the satin Mod Podge over the top of it. But then I have these earrings over here, and this uses the diamond glaze over the top of it. I felt like this is just a little, little dressier earring, not quite as rustic. I added the bead to it, the papers, just kind of more like pastel colors. I like the diamond glaze over it. I actually tried a couple different pairs with this paper, and I liked the diamond glaze over it better than I did the matte. So I use the diamond glaze over it. Now, the thing I really like about the diamond glaze is that it's really smooth. You'll notice when you're using Mod Podge and you're brushing that on, it's not easy when you're using Mod Podge to not get brush strokes in it. And I really like the smoothness look a little bit better. So I really like the diamond glaze, but I don't always feel like the shine that I get with diamond glaze looks good or looks as well when I'm doing a more rustic earring like this. So then you're gonna need your hardware. So here I've got, these are jump rings that I've got. I bought like a package on Amazon. It's got like all different colors and finishes to them. These are just little jump rings. I believe that these jump rings are 6mm jump rings, but I'll double check that and put it in the description. But I'll show you when we get to this step in making the earrings, what we do with these jump rings. But you want some jump rings. And then you're also going to want some earring hardware. So again, I get these on Amazon. I feel like they're the best price on Amazon. You're gonna wanna get the different, little earring hooks. And again, I have these in a bunch of different finishes: gold, antique gold, rose gold. I have these silver. I try to buy mine all hyperallergenic and nickel free, so that people aren't dealing with any kind of, allergies with my earrings. But you want to buy some of those. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started making our earrings. And I think we're gonna start, to start today off, I'm going to do these little 1.5 inch wood earrings. And I have some that I started making yesterday, so they're a little further along in the process. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do some fall earrings just because I'm trying to kind of get geared up for fall earrings. So I thought maybe this would be kind of a fun pattern to do. So let's find which ones I want to use. So I think we're gonna do a floral just because a lot of people like floral. So I'm gonna pull this out. So I'm gonna use this piece of paper. Now I could do the same thing on the front and the back, or I could do a different print on the back. I think it's kind of fun to do a coordinating back that's not maybe exactly the same, but coordinates with it. And that's another really great thing about these paper packs is that you get the coordinating papers. Some of these paper packs, like this one, it has a front and a back print. So it's double-sided, it's got a different print on the back. So I think what I'll do is I'll do this on the front, and then I'll just use this same piece of paper, and I'll use this kind of burlap looking print on the back for the back of my earrings. One of the other things that I forgot to mention when I was talking about everything that you need, you'll notice with all of these earrings that they all have some type of finish on the edge. These have a gold finish. Let's see, these earrings have a stained finish. So you're gonna need to have some things to finish the sides of your earrings. Now I have a gold and a silver paint pen that I use a lot. They're probably the quickest and the easiest to use, and they look like this. The ones I use are by Deco Color, and they're metallic silver and metallic gold. I also use, let me grab down here. I also will use my, this is the Varathane dark walnut stain. I will use this for the sides of some of them, and I will show you how I do that when we get to that step. So I forgot to tell you, you do need something to finish off the sides. And before you finish off the sides, we're gonna sand those edges. Sorry, I just bumped my camera. Sorry about that. Before we finish off the edges, we're going to sand them. I use a couple different grits of sand. So this one is 180 grit, and then I finish it off with a 220 grit just to get it soft. And again, I will put all these things in the descriptions. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use these little wood earrings, and we need to get the paper on them. So again, I could just put these down here and just cut my best around it. I do have a punch this size. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna flip this over so I can see where I'm at on my pattern, and I'm gonna punch out. There's one. Okay, so now I've got my two front and my two back. So now I need to attach them. Now, one of the things that you're gonna realize here when you go to Mod Podge these over is that you're gonna cover up your hole. So I like to put one on and then I punch it. So I punch the hole out, and then I do that with the other side. I use this tool right here. This is one of the punches that I have. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. I also have another punch that I got at Michael's with a 40% off coupon because it was like, I think it was $24, so I used a 40% off coupon. This is a leather punch. I use this for my earrings, but it also will work on paper. And it's got these different sizes of punch. So I might use this one. I'm not sure which one I'll use. This is kind of a bigger hole than some of the wood pieces will come with. I just need to make sure that will fit. So I might use this opposed to the little punch. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take my Mod Podge, and I'm gonna grab a brush here, and I'm just going to take a little bit of it, and I'm gonna just put a thin layer on my wood. I don't usually do it quite so many little dips, little thin layers, but that's okay. We'll put that right there. Okay, and then this is my top, so I kind of look at which direction I want my pattern to go, and you can see that punched it out. I mean, it's like it fits it perfectly. So then I'm just gonna kind of press down on this. Make sure that, like, sometimes with bigger pieces, you can kind of get little wrinkles in it. It depends on how thick this paper is that you're using too, but I'm just gonna push this down really, really well. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my punch here that I have. And again, you can use all different types of punches. I mean, you could honestly use a pair of scissors and just punch through that. I just use this because I have it and it works, but this is absolutely not a necessary tool to make these earrings with. You just need something. You can even use something like this. This is like my little cricket hook that I weed with, and it will kind of like punch, you could punch a hole in the paper with that as well. So there's that hole. So now I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna do the back. Again, I'm just kind of doing a thin coat of Mod Podge on it, making sure that like all of the edges have glue on it so that this paper stays down really well. And I just kind of look at my pattern again. So here's the top of my earring. I want to make sure that I've got the weave on this, you know, facing a good direction. So I'm gonna push that down. And then I've got my hole on this side, so I can use that hole to punch through this one. Just to kind of get an idea of where that's at, and then I'm just gonna kind of push that through. So there. I don't know if you can see that. Got my hole punched out in that earring. And this one is ready for a second coat of Mod Podge. So once you have glued it on with Mod Podge, then you're gonna put another coat over the top of it and let it dry. So we'll do the fronts. Actually, let's do the backs first. So I'm just gonna put another, and I do a little bit thicker coat of Mod Podge on this second time, because this is kind of acting as a coating. So I do a little more than I do when I'm gluing it down. I kind of do, the way I kind of know I've got it thick enough is I kind of want it to look kind of milky white on the top of it, more so than just a clear coat. See how you can kind of see the opacity of the Mod Podge? So that's, I put a little bit more when I do these ceiling covers. So I'm just gonna set this one up here on my shelf to dry, and we can go quickly through this next earring. So normally I would need to let these dry, and then once they were dry, they take, I'd say, about 20 minutes to dry. I would turn it over and I'd do the same thing on the front. I'd put like that thicker coat of Mod Podge on them and then let them dry really well. I usually do my earrings kind of in stages. A lot of the time I do a bunch of earrings and I let the Mod Podge dry on them before I move to the next step, which is sanding the edges and finishing off the edges. So a lot of times I will even let them sit overnight. So I'm gonna put these to the side and I'm gonna grab a pair that I was working on last night. Okay, so these are ready for the sanding steps. Let's put my Mod Podge away, clear off my punches. Okay, so I have these cute little earrings right here. So these have been, I Mod Podged both sides of them. They've got the hole punched out. So now these are ready to do the finish work on the side. So this is where we start the sanding. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to start with your more coarse sandpaper, or I have a sand block here. Sorry, this one is like really used. I really need new blocks. And so you want to start with your coarse one, and then you want to end with your finer sand paper. So I'm going to start with my 180 here. And basically what you want to do is you just want to sand the edge of this smooth, because you can see sometimes the paper just kind of goes over a very, very teeny tiny little bit, and you just want to get that all smoothed down. So what I do is I start out and I start going back and forth like this. And you can see how that's kind of sanding down a little bit of my paper edges. So I'm going to sand like this. So I first start sanding like this, and I go all the way around the edge with this. Then what I do is I take my earring and I kind of lay it flat like this, and then I'm gonna sand, and I'm gonna sand down, like almost like in a diagonal, but down like this. And what that does is it just kind of makes that paper that you have there just kind of sand down into the wood, and it gives it a really nice like finish on the edge of this paper. Especially if you're cutting your paper out and not using a punch, you know, you don't always have that perfect paper circle. So when you are sanding down like this and you go all the way around and sand down like that, it's gonna give it a really nice edge. So again, I'm gonna go all the way around, and I'm just doing it as flat as I can, because you don't want to change the shape of this nice flat edge that these earrings come with. So you're just gonna go around and we're gonna sand this down. Okay, so I went around and I got that all sanded down. So now I'm gonna do this diagonal, like going down all, and I'm turning it as I do it, and I'm just sanding that edge down. I just ordered this new little mini sanding tool that I've heard it really helps your sanding go quicker. So we'll see. The sanding, I think, is the longest part of making these. Just trying to make sure that you get everything sanded really well. Okay, so hope you can, I don't know if you can see that on video, how that edge just kind of then blends down into the wood. So I got to do it on the back side as well. And you might be able to tell better on this dark side, where you can just kind of see how that blends down. This paper now kind of like blends and fades down into the wood. So now what we want to do is I take my 220 grit, which is finer, and I just kind of go over the edge. Again, I just do the edge part again. You don't have to do this top angle. I just do this edge part again, because you just want a really smooth edge on your earrings. And the reason that you want this smooth edge is that you're either going to stain these edges, or you're going to paint them with the paint pen, or you're going to paint them with just acrylic paint. You're going to put something on the edge of these. And actually, I've even seen people that don't do anything to the edges, if you like that like natural wood finish. But I haven't done any with a natural wood finish. I like to put some kind of finish on mine. And the smoother this is, then the nicer your paint or stain or whatever just glides on there, and it gives it just a much more finished look. Okay, so that's really smooth now. It is really smooth, but I would probably go over this again just to get it even a little more smooth. I just like mine to be like where you can't feel any kind of bump in it or any little gritty part. I just like it to be as smooth as possible. That's much better. Okay, so that is how you sand the earring. So here's my finished earring. Okay, and it's nice and smooth. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish off this side. And like I said, you can use craft paint. It would be cute maybe if I took like a little bit of this mustard yellow and just did the edges of this. That would be really cute. You can also use a paint pen. Like I showed you before, I just have this gold and silver paint pen. Just because they're a really nice metallic. If I'm not using gold and silver and I'm just gonna use regular paint, I just use craft paint. I don't buy, you know, the pens and all different colors. I just used, you know, my acrylic craft paint. So I think I'm gonna go look, I could do a black edge. That would actually be kind of cute. The contrast would look cute with this front. Okay, so I chose a craft paint that it was called Antique Gold. This is what it looks like. It's just Americana craft paint, and I chose the Antique Gold. And I've got a little teeny tiny, I hope you can see this. Let me just make sure you can see. It's just a little teeny tiny craft paint brush that I'm gonna use. And so all you wanna do is just get, you wanna make sure that you just have a really, you can see I dipped that in my paint and then I kind of wipe that off, because you don't want to have your paintbrush be, really thick with paint. You want it to just be thin, because when you're doing this, you're just gonna kind of touch the sides of it, because we just want to get this on the edge. And so we don't want the paint dripping down, smearing down. So we just want it to be, just want a little bit of paint on the edge of our brush. And as you can see, I am just hitting that edge where that paper kind of blended down into the wood. I'm just hitting that edge with that paint too. I don't want to be on the flat surface at all, but I do kind of want to get that little edge there, that where that kind of blends down into the wood. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to see how you see that little tiny white line where my paper, like I sanded that. I'm just going to kind of hit that little part with this paint. You don't have to do that at all. I like to do that. I like to just kind of hit those edges with whatever paint I'm using. Now, one thing I want to tell you, if you do choose to use stain to do this, and I use stain quite a bit, the one thing you have to be careful with stain when you're doing this part is that stain, like, you really want to make sure that you have very, very tiny amounts of stain on the tip of your brush, because stain is so thin that it wants to seep down into your paper. And if that's the look you're going for, that's fine. But if you're not wanting that stain to seep down into the top of your image, you have to really make sure that you're not saturating your little tiny brush too much with stain, or even just touching it on the side. It can run down into your your Mod Podged paper on top. So now what we want to do is we want to seal, let me move my paint here. We want to seal off this earring. Again, we want to seal the edges. We're going to go over the top with another coat of something. Now this is where you can choose to either use just your regular satin finish Mod Podge. You can just keep using that and put another coat on top, and then also put something on the sides, or you can use something like this diamond glaze. I am going to use this diamond glaze today. I tend to use a diamond glaze if I have paper that kind of has a light background, because I just think it looks better. If I have like something that's a lot of color and I don't want that real shine to it, then I use Mod Podge. So like, let's say this was supposed to be the front of my earring, I probably would just use Mod Podge over it. Now, as far as sealing the earring here at the end, you can choose to put another coat of Mod Podge on the back if you want. I don't necessarily seal my backs again. I sealed them once, you know, when we put the paper on, and then I put that pretty generous coat of Mod Podge over the top of it. So I don't usually seal my backs again. At the end here, I usually just seal my top and then my sides. So I'm gonna use this diamond glaze. A couple little things with using this diamond glaze. First of all, when I went to Hobby Lobby to buy this, don't ask me why, but this is in the stamp section. It wasn't like with the other Mod Podge and glues, it was in the stamping section. So just little FYI, that's where I got it. It's by Judykins. It's called Diamond Glaze. You can get it on Amazon as well. It's about the same price. Yeah, well, and the one positive thing about buying it at Hobby Lobby, so it's $6.99 at Hobby Lobby, and if you use a 40% off coupon, then you're getting a better deal than you are even on Amazon. Now, the one thing with this diamond glaze is that you don't want it to have bubbles in it. So a couple things you want to do with your diamond glaze: you don't want to shake it up, you don't want to move it around a lot, or it will get bubbles in it. And you want to just really gently, when you open this up and when you're putting it, you know, down here on paper, and see, I've used mine a lot, so sometimes I will have little dry diamond glaze on the end. So that came out with like no bubbles in it, so that's great that it came out like that. So then I'm going to show you how I get this covered. Now you can do this however you wish to do it. You got to find the, you know, kind of the technique that works the best for you. But so I want to get this covered in diamond glaze on the sides and on the top. So what I do is I'll take my little weeding tool here, and I'll kind of stick it through this hole and push it down so it's kind of holding it firm, and then I'll hold it like this and I'll put my diamond glaze on it. I have also used a tool like my little cutters here, because they're so thin, and I will just kind of hold it like this, and then, you know, use this, and I can kind of get in there, and then I just kind of set it down to dry. So it just depends on what works best for you. Again, I like to use my little weeding tool that I have here. And the other thing you can do is you can do the top, let it completely dry, which it takes a few hours to dry, and then do the sides. But just for the sake of time, I like to do it all at one time, so I just have to let it dry for one kind of 3-hour mark. Now you can see here, that paper is kind of, because I'm pushing this thing through it, it's kind of pushing that paper back. So I'm just kind of making sure that it's pushed down in there. And I'll set that on there a little more gently than I was before. Okay, so now when you're putting on your diamond glaze, you want to kind of, you see I kind of have like a little kind of generous little drop of it there, because you don't want to go over it a ton with a bunch of brush strokes. So you kind of want to put it on and as thick as you want it in the end. So I'm gonna So I try to do as few, and then I kind of look at it in the light to the side, make sure I kind of have every place covered really well, and there's nothing that doesn't have that diamond glaze on it. And I just have very little bit left here on my, so then, and then when I do the edges, I just kind of just touch it, because this diamond glaze almost gives it like a dimensional finish. And I'm gonna need a little bit more diamond glaze to finish this side. Again, I'm just really careful not to shake it up too much, or, you know, just move it around a lot. So you can see I've got, you know, a decent amount of that diamond glaze on that. And I'm just kind of touching it, and it kind of almost in a way, it just kind of pools there on the side. When I do the sides, I don't really brush it on. I just kind of like go around and tap it with my brush so that it does kind of pool a little bit. just set it up on my shelf, trying not to touch the sides or the top at all. It's gonna sit that and let that dry. So I'm just gonna bring this down and show you. This is a little bit bigger one. This is a 2-inch circle. But this one, I did the diamond glaze on top. It just has the Mod Podge on the back. You can kind of see the shine to that edge. I did the stain on this one. It's got that hole there. And it looks like it kind of got some diamond glaze in there. So I'm just pushing this down in here just to make sure I've got a decent hole to get my earring attached to it. So now you've got your piece of wood, it's all finished. So now we need to turn it into an earring. So this is where our jump rings come in. So I'm gonna come over here. Now with this one, just because of the colors, I think I'm gonna use silver on it. And I'm going to add, this is kind of a thicker jump ring. I don't think I need one quite that thick. So I think that'll be big enough. So I've got 2 jump rings here. One of them is going to go on my little earring hook here. So I'm going to show you really quickly. And if you want to more information on how to work with jump rings, work with beads, that type of thing, there are so many YouTube videos out there that will show you really how to do these. I'll just kind of quickly go through and show you how I do it. So I use one of these little jump ring openers when I'm working on them. I put this on my finger, and I'm gonna take this jump ring and I'm gonna take my chain nose pliers here. Now, I didn't do any beading or anything. You can add beads in between there. And if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, how to add beads to wood earrings, I'd be happy to do another video and show you how to do that part of it. But I really wanted to focus this video on what you need to do wood earrings and just the process of getting this piece of wood with your design on it, finishing the edges, what products that we use for that type of thing. So here is our earring. I just think these earrings are so cute. You know, whether you're doing this to make earrings and sell them or do it for yourself, just making earrings for yourself or as gifts, you know, the great thing about this craft and this hobby is that you can take just about any outfit that you have and you can make adorable matching earrings to go with it. So there's so much that you can do with these earrings. There's so many different prints that you can do on it. I've seen some people put like 2 different papers, like one paper on the top half, one paper on the lower half. I haven't done that yet, but I definitely, that's something that I'm going to want to try. And again, let me show you, I've got another pair, these parafinished earrings here. And these have, here I put this little heart bead in the middle of it, but it's got, you know, our same little earring hooks and our jump rings. And this is actually the front of it. You can see this one does have that diamond glaze on the front of it. So anyways, happy earring making. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Please make sure to give my video a thumbs up if you liked it, if it was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'm happy to help you. I know it's a lot trying to figure this out for the first time, and I love helping. So I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.